In my ongoing quest to visit every national park in the U.S., I finally checked off two big ones that had been sitting on my list for years: Isle Royale and Voyagers. So right now I'm going to share about my trip to Isle Royale, and then later in another video I'll be sharing about my trip to Voyagers. So Isle Royale was actually park number 54 for me. And honestly, every park that I've visited teaches me something new. Things that I never would have seen or experienced if I wasn't on this journey to visit all the national parks. So the first stop was Isle Royale. My buddy Brandon and I had talked about doing this trip for a while, so when the opportunity finally lined up for us to be able to plan this trip over Labor Day weekend, we didn't hesitate. So I live in Alabama, and he now lives in Pennsylvania. So I drove all the way up from Alabama. I picked him up at the airport in Chicago, and we continued north towards Copper Harbor, which is at the very top, very northern tip of the Upper Peninsula. Big city. All right, we got to Copper Harbor this morning at 7 a.m. We left at 5:45 a.m. from Houghton, and found out when we got here that there was a delay because of weather, so we don't leave till noon, check in at 11, so we got like 4 hours to kill. So Brandon got some coffee, and we're gonna go sit in the van, power up the Starlink, and maybe actually get some work done since we're got time to kill now. Not much going on in Copper Harbor. So the thing about Isle Royale is you can only get there by plane or boat. Most people take the ferry, and it's definitely not your average national park entrance. It's seasonal, it's remote, and it's also a little pricey. It's about $175 round trip from Copper Harbor for one person. You can also take a ferry from Houghton, Michigan, or Grand Portage, Minnesota. Those are two other options. We took the one from Copper Harbor, and there's also an option for a seaplane trip out there too. So we got everything planned and finally got there and set off on our trip across Lake Superior. You have to plan ahead, and you really need to take most of the stuff that you're going to need with you because there's really limited access out there. I don't really get seasick often, but even with that 4-hour delay for the weather, the swells out on the lake were still pretty big, and it took everything I had to not get seasick. So be prepared when you go with some kind of nausea medicine. Isle Royale is one of the most remote national parks in the entire system, but that isolation, that's exactly what makes this place so special. So we finally reached Rock Harbor after all the delays of getting out there. It took about 4 hours to get out across Lake Superior to get to Rock Harbor from Copper Harbor.
Royal, everyone, you have just traveled across the largest freshwater lake by surface area in order to arrive. How was your trip?
All right, we got checked in through a very arduous, lengthy orientation process. Like a meeting that should have been an email, maybe? I think that was kind of what the status of that was. But we got to our campsite. Most of the campsites were full, and Rock Harbor is just a walk up from the check-in and ranger station and everything. So we came up here just to get set for the night, and then we're gonna hike tomorrow out to some other spots. But all the sites and all the shelters were full because we got here so late. So we're at group site 3. Got a picnic table. There's water somewhere, I think. Lots of berries blooming right now. Picking thimbleberries and eating them on the trail. Never had thimbleberries. Apparently there's blueberries and raspberries too. But anyway, pretty sweet spot. Just kind of getting checked in now. So, see what it's like. So like I said, the campground was pretty full, and so we had to go out to the overflow site, which was at the very far end of the campground. And they have bear boxes, which there's no bears on the island, but they do have wolves. And so they have storage boxes at all the campsites for you to put your food and any items that smell to keep the wolves out of your food. You also have to carry a bear-proof case for your food and your like cosmetics and things like that, toiletries, so that anything that smells can go inside that box if you're out camping in the wilderness, but also all your food goes in the bear boxes that are on site at, I think, all the campsites, if not all the campsites. Most of them have them. All the ones we stayed in did have them. So we had this crazy moment during the trip. We got to our site, got our camp set, everything was great, and we went to bed. We cooked our food, put our food in the bear box, and went to bed. And then we got woken up in the middle of the night by some noise that I was not expecting. I should have had my camera out earlier, but I didn't. It's 4 a.m. Let's see exactly. It's 4:33 a.m. And Brandon and I are hiking back towards the visitor center because we had a wolf in our camp.
just about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. So you have to put your food in the locker. At about 2:30, I heard something that sounded like one of the bear canisters outside not outside my tent, but outside the campsite. I was like, it sounds like a container, a plastic container. I was yelling at Brendan. I thought he went to the bathroom. And I yelled at him. I thought he said, yeah, that was me. But he said, no, it wasn't me. I know. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, how are you so loud going to the bathroom? And then I heard it again, so I kind of put my head out and I saw the other tents there. And the other guys were sleeping right through it. And I looked behind his tent and there was like these eyes looking at me. They were like haunting eyes of a wolf. 150 feet from me, just on the other side of our campsite. They kept walking around. We thought they'd left. And then they came back. There's no way I'm gonna get any sleep in the tent. So we decided to pack up and walk back down towards the visitor center because we're right here at Rock Harbor. We're now at the restaurant in line for breakfast at 2 hours. Here it's really good. We figured we'd get in line early.
It was one of the craziest moments I've ever had at the national park. I just wish I'd had my camera out to capture it. It was kind of raining, and honestly, in the moment, we were more focused on the fact that this wolf was watching us a little too closely. The next morning, we headed out from the Rock Harbor campground, and we headed toward the 3 Mile campground, just where we set up for night 2. We only had 2 days on the island, which meant we really just scratched the surface of what Isle Royale offers. But even in that short amount of time, the little piece of the park that we did get to explore was pretty incredible. Rugged shorelines, quiet forest, and a peaceful stillness that you only get in a place this remote.
All right, I just made it to the 3 Mile campground. I had to claim our shelter for the night. Hopefully not have any wolf issues tonight. Pretty clean.
Isle Royale really shines for backpackers. It's the kind of park where you can land on one end of the island and hike all the way to the other, spending days trekking across the whole island. But if backpacking is not your thing, there is a lodge at Rock Harbor. It's great. You can experience the island there with a bit more comfort if you want.
We just left 3 Mile campground. We got here early yesterday, hung out all day here, pretty much. Nice little dock and viewpoint for sunrise and sunset, actually. So we're headed up towards Mount Franklin.
Okay, so when I compare this experience to my other national park visits, it really kind of sits in the middle. It's not my favorite, it's not the worst. I think the one thing that I noticed the most at Isle Royale, and what I would soon learn at Voyagers, is that there's not a lot of variety in scenery. I'm not an avid fisherman. I do love hiking and backpacking when there's a great payoff and view at the end. But if I'm just hiking and backpacking through similar scenery, I kind of get bored with it. That being said, it's a place that I'm so glad that I went. I was able to check it off my list of national parks, but I don't know that it has that much revisit value for me. Hopefully while you're there, you'll see some wildlife. Hopefully not a close encounter with a wolf like we had. We didn't see any moose while we were there, but the park is beautiful. It's very remote. It's very isolated. Isle Royale is more about getting out into the solitude and experiencing the silence.
I can't hear anything out here. There's no boats, no planes, no cars. On the other side of the harbor, you can hear boats and stuff over there because they travel back and forth there more. But on this Tobin side, nothing.
Isle Royale is beautiful. It's secluded, it's rugged, and there's nowhere else in the country that's quite like it. Even with just a couple of days there, this trip reaffirmed to me why I'm doing this. Why visiting all the national parks has become so meaningful to me. I've seen so many things that I would never have known about had they not been in the national park system. I'm so thankful for all the experiences I've had on this journey, and looking forward to revisiting many of the parks and finishing up my final 8 as soon as I can. if you'd like to keep up with me as I travel and follow along as I finish off the 8 final national parks I have left in the U.S., like this video and subscribe to the channel so you'll be updated as I post more adventures.